What's up, y'all? It's your girl, El Rochelle, the Hardwood Diva, and I'm coming to you for our NFL Week 13, also known as Thanksgiving Week football games. So first up, Thursday, 9:30 a.m. We are getting started early. We are going to have a full football day, y'all. I'm ready to eat. This baby's ready to eat. So let's get into it. First up, 9:30, Chicago Bears versus the Detroit Lions in Detroit. I'm going with Detroit. Chicago came back and did fairly well, last week after us not seeing them do so well for the last couple of weeks. But I'm still going with Detroit on this one. Detroit just looks like a team that is very focused this year. And I'm glad to see what I'm seeing from them. I like Detroit. I think that they have quite a few really awesome offensive talent, and I'm really happy to see them all kind of sort of starting to gel together and seeing the defense play a significant role as well. So 1:30 p.m., the game I will be watching intently, Philadelphia Eagles versus the Dallas Cowboys. 1:30 p.m. in good old Dallas. I'm going with the Cowboys. Cowboys are definitely a team that I am seeing actually do the things that they couldn't do the last few seasons. They're actually overcoming these deficits and actually coming back, last-second wins. These are the things that Dallas was not able to do before. They usually start fall turnaround late November into December, so of course this is the time where we really see what Dallas is made of, but I believe Dallas has the opportunity to beat Philadelphia, and I believe that they will beat Philadelphia. So, go Cowboys. 5:30 p.m., our last game of our Thanksgiving Day. You'll probably be going back for leftovers or for seconds at that point. So, let's go with Seattle versus San Francisco. This will be the first time they've met since last year's NFC Championship. Going with San Francisco at home. I've liked what I've seen from San Francisco. They're getting out wins. Defense is doing well. Offense's running game is doing well, which is what they've needed it to do. Seattle, of course, kind of been up and down this season, but just away from home right now, I'm not so sure on them. They've lost at home this season as well. But I'm going to go with San Francisco at home for this one. We'll see what happens. Sunday, our 10 a.m. games, and we've got quite a few of them. Not too many 1 p.m. games, mainly because we've got so many games on Thursday. But Sunday at 10 a.m., first up, San Diego Chargers versus the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore. I'm going with Baltimore. I don't trust San Diego coming across the country. I just never do. They never do well when they have to fly that far. They're just one of those teams. So I'm going with Baltimore. I like what I see from Baltimore. Justin Forsett came up for them big this week. Steve Smith did a great job in their game this Monday. So I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens. Cleveland versus Buffalo. Buffalo annihilated the Jets in that win on Monday. Even after kind of having some of the stress of the snowstorm, being forced to play in Detroit, they still not only won, but they won huge. So I just see them being able to be on a roll. So I'm going with Buffalo in this game. Just can't see Cleveland pulling this one out. That's me. Tennessee versus Houston. This one's tough. Houston's gutted out a few wins, but injuries to quarterback, injuries at a couple other positions. I just don't know if they'll be able to overcome that this week. So I'm going with Tennessee, which is not necessarily a team under any other circumstance choose. But with the way Houston looks this week, I'm going with Tennessee. Washington versus Indianapolis. Well, dynamics of this game changed this week, didn't it? Tuesday, it was reports began going around in the late evening that Robert Griffin III had been sat down. He would be benched and Colt McCoy would start this game. Now, many people, of course, did think Robert Griffin's job was in danger, but a lot of people thought he'd at least get to play against Indianapolis, and depending on how he did versus, Andrew Luck, that, 2011 Squad, well, 2012 draft class with Andrew Luck, RG3. What are they doing? But no, we're not gonna get to see that because RG3 will be sitting on that bench and Colt McCoy is coming in. And as good as they looked when Colt McCoy was in, I still don't think they can beat Indianapolis in Indianapolis, especially during this kind of week of upheaval. So I'm going with Indy for this game. New York Giants versus Jacksonville. Giants. Giants aren't great. Giants almost beat my Cowboys. But the Giants will beat Jacksonville. Carolina versus Minnesota. Minnesota. And I'm going with them because I saw a very interesting Minnesota team versus Green Bay. Now, I know part of it is just when you play your rivals, you play up to the competition. But Carolina's not doing so well. I'm not really pleased with them much. So I kind of like what I'm starting to see from Minnesota. Well, at least on the offensive side. So I'm going to go with Minnesota for this one. New Orleans versus Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, because I can't trust New Orleans for anything at this point. Not even a win at home. And this is away. So definitely don't trust them. Pittsburgh. Oakland versus St. Louis. Oakland got their first win last week. So there's that. I'm happy for my husband. But still think they're going to lose to St. Louis. St. Louis has been playing pretty well. And Kansas City is Oakland's rival, so I can see them kind of playing up to them. I just don't know how it's going to work, again, playing away from home. So I'm going with St. Louis. Cincinnati versus Tampa Bay. And that god-awful NFC South, Tampa Bay still technically somehow has the chance to get up there with a, 2-11 record? Or, what is it? No, 2-10. They're terrible. Let's just put it that way. But they're not going to beat Cincinnati. So there goes that. Cincinnati wins the game. I liked what I saw from them last week. Andy Dalton's kind of trying to play a little better. Had that horrible game a few weeks ago. But I'm seeing I'm seeing more of the Andy Dalton that is good, not the bad one. He kind of has his moments, but for the most part, I'm seeing a good Andy Dalton. 1 p.m. games. Arizona versus Atlanta. Arizona. Another one of these god-awful NFC South teams. They're terrible to watch. Like, really terrible to watch. They all just, like, it's like nobody wants to win. It's really horrible. Like, 4-7, that's what's winning the division right now. That's ridiculous. So I'm going with Arizona. The team with the best record in the league at this point. Odd. Very odd. New England versus Green Bay. This one's a tough one. I do like what Bill Belichick said about the similarities between Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. They both wear number 12. They're both really good. They have different qualities. Great thing for Green Bay, though, is I believe they have a better balance on offense, and I like their defense more. So I'm going with Green Bay at home. They're on a roll. RELAX, it worked, and going with them. 5:30 p.m., Denver versus Kansas City. Poor Denver. I'm going with Kansas City on this one. I don't know what's happened to them, but this is not the team we saw at the beginning of the year. This is not the team that we thought, hey, this is one of those teams that might make it back to the Super Bowl after losing the year before. No. Until they rediscover their running game, I'm not rooting for anything. And Kansas City has an amazing running game. Y'all know how I feel about it. So go with Kansas City. Monday, our 5:30 game is going to end our first game of December. Oh my gosh. December 1st, 5:30 p.m. The Miami Dolphins versus the New York Jets, who will now have Geno Smith back. Seriously. Ridiculous. I'm going with Miami because they've had the same quarterback the entire year. The Jets have flip-flopped quarterbacks more times than I can personally count and don't really feel like figuring out. So, going with Miami. there you have it. Any questions, let your girl know. Have a happy, happy, happy Thanksgiving. Don't overeat. If you do, fall asleep. You got a long weekend. So, hope you guys all have a wonderful, wonderful time. I will talk to you later. Deuces.